Recap. My mother, 37, had me, 20 male, young. She was never a mother to me, and I was raised by my grandparents and later my uncle, 34. When I was 8, my grandma got sick, and my uncle, who was 22 then, started taking me in, and I moved with him full time. I only saw my mother for family events, and she was always criticizing me on how I looked, my hobbies, and what I liked. Later, I refused to talk to and or see her. When I was 18, my uncle proposed to adopt me legally, so I decided to go see my mother one last time to inform her and have some closure. During this talk, she told me my father's name. I talked to my family about him, and long story short, everyone knows him. His family lived in the same town as my great-grandparents, and my family used to go there every holiday. I decided to try to meet him with my uncle. He, 36, moved back a few years ago to be close to his family and took everything well. I did make sure to inform him that I already had a dad. He told me he had no children and was interested in knowing me. He presented me to his parents. They even found pictures of me with him from before he went to college. For the last 2 years, we've had a pretty great relationship. The issue is his girlfriend, Anna. They don't live together and have been a couple for over 3 years. She made it clear that I had no place there. I only see her when I eat with him at his parents'. She still makes it clear that I don't belong in this family. When I ask a question, she tells me stuff like, "If you were a part of the family, you should know," always pointing out physical differences. So it was a surprise when she called me last week. I thought it was an emergency, so I answered. She told me that she wanted to move in with my dad, but he refused because he knew we didn't get along, and he wanted his house to be a safe space for me. And he was afraid that I would come by less if she were there all the time. It's the truth. She then told me I should put my grudges aside and try to be nicer to her for my father's sake. I told her no. I had years of therapy to remove toxic people from my life. Being with her is like being with my mom. I do not want to put myself in this kind of situation anymore. Update. Am I the idiot for refusing to play nice to my father's girlfriend, and by doing so, preventing them from moving in together? After reading your comments, I realized what the issue was. My bio dad or his family never made me feel like that, but after hearing a lot of people saying it, it got to me, and I realized now that I was restraining myself not to disappoint my bio dad. I guess in my mind, I had to work and be nice to have his affection because I didn't deserve it. Yeah, you can blame my bio mom for that. Anyway, after realizing that, I also realized that I had never told him and his parents how his girlfriend was treating me. And I also realized she was smart enough to do it when they were all out of earshot. I'm a non-confrontational person, and I was scared to say everything at once to my bio dad. And I was afraid of not being able to express everything I wanted to convey correctly. I talked to my uncle about it, and he proposed to make an appointment with a therapist to have a kind of family session so it would be easier for me to express myself. We did it before in our family, and it helped me a lot. We talked about it to my bio dad, and he immediately agreed. He could sense something was off. Anyway, during the session, I exploded. I started talking and couldn't stop myself. At first, I felt that it made no sense because I was saying everything and nothing at once. But luckily, the therapist helped a lot. After that, we all had a very long talk and put everything on the table. My bio dad had no idea that it was this bad with his girlfriend, and he was really appalled and remorseful for not realizing it. One thing that angered him, and my uncle a lot, was the comment about me not looking like my dad, which I never took notice of because it's true. My mom and uncle are half Filipino, and I took everything from the Filipino side except his dimples. Apparently, the comments about me not being part of the family were because of my racial background. So yeah, on top of everything, she was racist. All of this happened last month, and since then he broke up with her. And I try to be more honest about what I feel without being afraid of what he thinks. He also proposed to continue family therapy if I felt like it would help me discuss certain topics. This relationship is still a work in progress, But honestly, I feel terrific about it. So again, thanks for all your help and your kind words. Yay, good for you. Congrats on your new beginnings. You saved yourself from an awful situation. Your bio dad in your relationship, and your bio dad from continuing a horrible relationship, all by communicating. I hope you know how brave that was and have learned how powerful communication can be. Continue doing the work and things will improve over time. I'm so sorry that your bio mother and bio dad's ex have shown you such poor examples of maternal figures. I hope your grandma showed you what a mom was supposed to be like. Also, I hope you know what you don't want in future partners, whatever gender. Best of luck to you and the family that you've chosen. We have 3 kids and struggled a lot with money while they were growing up. My youngest 2 still live with us, but my older son, 22, lives with his girlfriend. They've only been dating a few months, so when he said he was moving in, we were not happy and told him it was a dumb idea and he couldn't afford it and we couldn't help him. Our son told us her student loans paid for the apartment and he's just paying utilities and groceries. He moved in anyway almost a year ago. Things were rough for us and we wouldn't be able to make our mortgage payment for 1 month. We reached out to our son asking if he could loan us some money. He gave us $1,000 and our daughter gave us $500 and we were able to make the mortgage. I fully intend on paying them both back when able. My son reached out last week and asked if I could pay some of the money back. They're falling short of rent this month. I told him I couldn't at the moment. I told him that's why I thought it was a bad idea. He didn't need to move out. He chose to, even though we couldn't afford it when he could live at home for free. He said forget it, and they borrowed money from his girlfriend's family who are well off. Now he's not answering phone calls from his father or me, but we literally didn't have the money to give him. You are the idiot. You borrow money from your son for housing when you know you're not able to pay him back, but continue to scold him for his own housing costs. He's short because he loaned you $1,000, not because of what he and his girlfriends are doing. Try saving your money and pay him back. Stop scrolling the internet and get a second job or something. LOL. LMAO, so you crap on your son for making an adult decision and say, "We're not going to help you, dumb idiot." Then go begging him for money. Then refuse to pay him back. How did you type this out and not realize you are the idiot? How do you not see the unfortunate irony here? The only reason he couldn't afford rent is that you couldn't afford your mortgage. You need to pay him back. You need to figure out how to pay your bills without your kids. I don't know what you have going on, why you don't have money, but you need to pay your bills and let him pay his. It's not his job to pay your bills. You didn't want him to move out so you could use his money, realizing that if he left, he would take his money with him. Get over the fact that he moved out without your approval. Apologize and pay him back what you owe. Your issue caused his issue. If you hadn't have been short, neither would he. Horrific logic, horrific parenting. Not to worry, you succeeded beautifully at one thing, being wrong. Wow, that was the clearest case of the pot calling the kettle black I've ever heard. My ex and I broke up 5 years ago after a year-long relationship. He broke up with me, and I took it very hard back then. I can't say I did anything crazy, aside from a few weeks after the breakup, getting intoxicated on a night out and sending him some embarrassing text. It was the worst heartbreak I've ever had, and it didn't help that he kept messaging me to be friends, even though I tried to set boundaries and say I needed space to heal. Anyways, that's all in the past. I have indeed healed from that and am over him. He recently married a girl he started dating 2 months after we broke up. Honestly, I'm happy for him. Good for them. On the other hand, I've dated since then, but haven't been able to find anyone worth marrying. I haven't even had another serious relationship since him. He's still on the periphery of my social circle because we still have a lot of mutual friends from uni, and sometimes I see them both in social settings. However, while he and I have buried the hatchet and usually chat when we happen to be in the same room for a bit, although we never text or meet up outside of these contexts, his wife and I have always treated each other with polite disinterest. I know she doesn't like me. An important note about her is that she's been unemployed for a long time. I don't know if it's because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, a completely valid choice if that's her thing, or because she's been unable to find work, but she hasn't worked in many years, despite having a master's degree. I've been able to advance my career in the past 5 years, and I'm quite far ahead in my field for someone my age. And I'm very proud of myself because I worked extremely hard. Anyways, here's the issue. The other day, a bunch of people went out for drinks, and I came. They were both there. We were all sitting at the same table in a bar. Someone I hadn't seen in a while asked me if I was dating anyone. I replied, no, not right now. My ex's wife quickly made a snarky comment. "Aw, it's okay. Some people just stay single," in front of everyone, like 10 of our friends. Without missing a beat, I blurted out, "Yeah, just like some people are meant to stay unemployed." She got really upset, cried, and left. Her husband messaged me that I should apologize to her for embarrassing her. I said I will, if she apologized first. He said she refused because what I said was worse, apparently. Am I the idiot? LOL, not the way I thought this would go. Not the idiot. People need to learn not to start crap unless they can handle someone else finishing it for them. I have zero sympathies for idiots that are inexplicably rude and then have the audacity to act offended when the object of their rudeness fails to accept it passively. What she did and said was uncalled for. What you replied with was gold, LOL. She seems jealous of your achievements and that her husband still keeps in contact with you. It looks like a lot of insecurity on her end. Everyone's the idiot here. I'm not sure if I agree with the people saying you're not over him. Honestly, I think you might just be frustrated about being single while your ex is in a happy relationship, which does suck. I do agree you're spending too much time here and giving your ex too much space in your head. Put some distance between yourself and him, meet new people, and you can avoid this snippy drama. I, 27 female, planned a ski trip with my boyfriend, 29, and some of our friends, mostly his friends. We booked in advance, and I told them about it and let them know that they were invited or not. We planned on bringing our computers to have a LAN party. My boyfriend and I gamed together. While we were there once, a few people wanted to go. We were really excited. Recently, I learned as we arrived at someone's house to watch a game together as a group that I'm not invited on the trip any longer because one of his friend's girlfriends couldn't come due to work, and now it's going to be a guy's trip. I feel pretty hurt. I got upset and asked them what right they had to disinvite me from a trip that I planned and to basically make it no women allowed for some odd reason. We plan things all the time and I attend. We share the same interest a lot of time, so I'm confused and bothered by the implication that I'd be distracting or in the way or make it less fun. They brushed it off, so they're going now without me or anyone else female. My boyfriend feels torn. He's kind of a people pleaser and doesn't want to make waves. His friends say weird crap sometimes about women and say they're joking, but this makes me feel like they actually meant those things and don't even think of me as a friend. Instead of also being their friend, I'm their friend's girlfriend, which hurts because I've been there for many of these guys and gone out of my way for them. I've hosted at my house and always tried to make it fun. I don't understand. I told them it was messed up and I planned the trip, so they didn't get to decide that. They basically acted like I was emotional and needed to get over it. I've refused to talk to some of them since then. Everyone's acting like I don't want them to go and do things, just the guys, and I'm controlling. The narrative has been lost among our friends, and I'm being painted as a villain compared to the other women who were going and who are cool with it. When actually, I don't give a crap. They go out all the time for guys' nights and guys' trips. I just want to enjoy the trip I planned, regardless of being a girl or not. I don't think telling them I'm coming would even do anything. I can't imagine going now with how they clearly feel. That would be really awkward, probably. But it has created a rift between my dude and his friends. And they're telling him I'm being unreasonable and overreacting. And he's talking about not going and is really angry at them, but doesn't want to ruin the friend group dynamic. Am I the idiot? OMG, did you just overreact? And those lady hormones should unbook everything and be emotional and irrational by forgetting to tell them they have nothing booked. Oops, my female brain made me do it. Sorry. You're not the idiot. And if it's booked by you, unbook it. Book yourself a cool trip. Make new friends. Stop making excuses for your boyfriend. He's a people pleaser. Nope, he's a spineless idiot and is a massive red flag. So ditch your boyfriend and have a fabulous holiday fling. You're hanging around with some idiots who are not your friends. They have shown you what they think of your friendship. Now listen to them. His friends are misogynistic idiots, and he's torn. I gotta love how they're trying to make you believe that none of the other women who were going have a problem with also being disinvited by their misogynistic idiot boyfriends. The universe gives us divine filters. This is one of them. Your boyfriend isn't the one ruining the friend group dynamic. The misogynistic idiots are. What he does with this tells you a lot about him and what you're willing to tolerate from a partner. If this is really a serious relationship, I think long and hard before committing to someone with such poor boundaries. My mom got married recently. My mom really isn't big into taking pictures. She thinks only ugly or insecure people care about them, but that's a whole other issue. Though there was a photographer. My mom wanted a picture with her kids, just her kids and not our partners. My wife felt that that was rude and asked if there could be a family picture. My mom said no, as she only wants a couple of pictures and thinks taking them is a waste of time. I didn't think much of it. I mean, we are her kids. Why can't she want just a picture with us? My wife said it was bad etiquette. Couples are a package deal and asked me not to take the picture. My mom said fine, she didn't want any pictures with anyone but the groom. I asked why we just couldn't take a family picture and include our partners. My mom said she didn't want to, as my wife was being difficult, and she doesn't believe marriage is about family anyway, especially a second marriage when she doesn't like his kids and he doesn't like me. She told us to just go away and let her take a few pictures with him. As we walked away, I asked if that was necessary. I said my mom is allowed to want a picture with just her bio kids, and the package deal shouldn't mean joined at the hip. I said she was acting like a brat and making someone else's wedding about her. She was hurt and, needless to say, didn't speak to me for the rest of the evening. She still thinks that I'm an idiot and I'm enabling my mom. Rule of thumb, if you're going to someone else's wedding, don't whine, pout, or make everything all about you. Apparently your wife missed that memo. It was your mom's wedding. It didn't matter what anyone else wanted. And if the situations were reversed, the whole internet would have come down on your mother for forcing her desires on her daughter-in-law's wedding. You're not the idiot. You're just right. Everyone's the idiot here. Your wife is being difficult by pushing the issue of couples being a package deal. I think wanting a picture of you and your children at a wedding is fine. Your mom is being difficult. She hired a photographer. She's taking pictures with her new husband and wants a picture with her children, so she can't use the "I don't like pictures" excuse. It would have taken 5 minutes at most to take a whole group family picture with spouses included. This is such a minor issue that I wonder why your wife was like this. Are you sure there's not something more here? Both of them are choosing stupid hills to die on. I, nearly adult female, have 2 younger brothers, Josh, teen, and Sam, young teen. One relevant tidbit, I'm bi, and though I don't exactly flaunt it, my family's aware. Recently, Josh has been making nasty jokes about me that I'm uncomfortable sharing. I tried everything to get him to stop. I asked nicely and tried explaining logically why those things weren't okay to say. I even tried shouting and being confrontational with him, but none of it worked. I went to my mom for help and advice because I knew he would if she told him to knock it off. She told me to just ignore him and he'll stop because he's just trying to get a reaction out of you. Don't fall for it. That's been her favorite line throughout my childhood. I wasn't surprised. I decided to take her advice in the pettiest and probably idiotic way possible. The next time I saw my brother was at dinner, and he asked me to pass the salt. I did nothing. Sam passed him the salt. Instead, my mom asked if anything was wrong, and I said nothing was wrong. Josh then asked me to pass the potatoes, and I ignored him again. My mom passed him the potatoes and asked me more directly, why was I ignoring Josh? And I said, who? At this point, Sam started to crack up, and Josh was getting red in the face. My mom responded, your brother, Josh. Honey, are you okay? I said, my only brother is named Sam. Who are you talking about? Josh got fed up and interjected with, my name. Are you going crazy? I'm right here. At that point, I couldn't keep a straight face anymore, and I, while cracking up, said, did you guys hear something? I could have sworn I heard her voice. Oh well, probably just the wind. Josh smacked his palm on the table and stormed off. Sam was full on cackling. My dad was confused as heck, and my mom gave me a death glare before going off to talk to Josh. My dad asked what was going on, and I explained. He sighed and called me immature. Sam called me a legend and went back to eating his food. Later that night, my mom told me that what I did was unacceptable. She said that if I had a problem with her advice, I should have gone to her instead of taking it out on Josh. My dad agreed with her. I fully admit that what I did was petty, but am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That is malicious compliance at its finest. Also, if your mother can't be bothered to parent her children, then she loses any right to complain after the fact. She's just mad that her advice somehow backfired on her and she had to parent her son. Make sure to let your mother know that you'll drop it when your brother drops his bigotry. I think the next step that would be helpful is to take your mom aside and talk to her privately. You can then explain what you're doing. It may be helpful to come up with a game plan when he makes those comments in the future and see if she has any other suggestions. He's just acting like an immature teenage boy. Hopefully, he'll outgrow it and learn that some comments are inappropriate. OP did talk to her mother. Mom didn't want to handle the problem. Why doesn't she give Josh the same advice of just ignoring her? Like, let's review. OP was ignoring her brother for one night at dinner. Unacceptable. Immediate lecture from mom. Brother making nasty jokes about his sister for what sounds like days to weeks. Unworthy of parental intervention. Just ignore him and he'll stop. Your mom seems to prefer your brother over you because, while he's allowed to offend you, you're not even allowed to ignore him. She needs what's known as a reality check. So I doubt another private conversation would help. Plus, why didn't you raise this with your dad? Is he against you too? Josh couldn't care less about what my dad thinks. He's a total mama's boy. I thought going to my mom had the best chance of helping me. Honestly, my dad will just go with whatever my mom says once she makes a decision. I'm sorry that your mom's an idiot and your dad's a spineless coward. It's very telling that your mom didn't give your brother the same advice she gave you, to just ignore nasty behavior. Next time, ask your mom why she's willing to help him, but not you, even though he is in this situation because of his actions. I, 32 male, and my wife, 31, have a bedroom, 2 IKEA Malm dressers, and a cat. I will preface this by saying I'm generally a fairly neat and tidy person. I clean up after myself. I regularly vacuum. My things are mainly organized, and I don't like filth and clutter. Our home is generally not messy or dirty. There is one exception. On top of one of the Malm dressers, the one that contains my clothing, there are probably 6 or 7 shirts, hoodies, etc. that are just strewn about, and they've been there for a while. At first, this pile began as a place where I just set clothes I would rewear the next day, a hoodie, a light jacket, clean sweatpants that I'd only worn for a few hours, etc. But over time, it also became a dumping ground for shirts that need a button reattached, etc. Some of these shirts have been there for months because neither of us knows how to sew, and neither of us is probably learning how to sew anytime soon. This has always been a slight annoyance to my wife. This has become complicated though, because one of our cats has really taken a shine to this pile of clothes. It's high up, it gets sunshine from the window, and it's dirty clothes. That's primo cat real estate. Little homie sits up there like 6-7 hours a day. The clothes are now covered in a fine layer of orange fur. It's very cute. He's clearly very happy. I've christened the dresser Dirty Clothes Tower. My wife is mad. She wants to evict my kitty from the tower. She wants it to be clean, sterile. She wants to put a proper cat bed up there. My kitty likes it how it is. He likes the mess. Kitties love dirty clothes. It's the only part of the house that's messy. I continue to defend the existence of the Dirty Clothes Tower. Occasionally, I add a new garment. This is the only thing we argue about. She thinks I'm a child. I think it's harmless. And the cat likes it, so it's cute. Am I the idiot for refusing to put these clothes in the hamper? You are the idiot. Dude, change needs to come. Today your cat likes that pile of clothes. Tomorrow, he'll organize his own gang and start extorting money from the vendors. Then you won't have a chance to blink, and it's a mafia hideout. Do you want a mafia in your hood? Don't think so. Let your wife nip it in the bud and keep the town safe for everyone. Oh dear. If I was her, I'd scoop them all up and put them in the bin. Clearly surplus to requirements. Fixing a button is not sewing. It's one of the simplest things in the world. You don't learn it, you just figure it out in seconds. Wash the clothes and hang them up, even if they need fixing. They're going to be covered in cat hair, mud, poo, leaves, dead things, etc. Cats don't care. They'll sleep on anything. I'm saying this as someone married to someone who will defend his clutter to death. Every time your wife looks at your tower of dirty clothes, she realizes that your dirty clothes are more important to you than she is. It's not harmless. It is, in fact, actively harming your marriage. It's a drip, drip, drip of contempt. The cat will get over it. You will get over it. But really, if you wanted to stay a slob, you should have stayed single. My daughter, 22, just got into a car wreck 5 days ago. She was at fault. She sideswiped someone in her blind spot. It completely bent her frame, and her car is beyond repair. The only dealership that'll approve her for a vehicle won't have her vehicle available for 2 weeks. It's a buy here, pay here. Now, my brother and his wife are buying a part of my land, 2 acres. My brother makes monthly payments on it, while his wife stays home all day. She claims it's because the pregnancy is destroying her legs, and it hurts to walk. Since she's been out of work, I knocked $300 off the monthly cost to help him out. His wife doesn't ever go anywhere, so her vehicle just sits in the driveway. And my daughter obviously needs a car. So I talked to my brother 3 days ago and told him that they should consider allowing my daughter to use the vehicle for the next 2 weeks because I don't have time to take her to work. Uber would be costing easily $200 a day due to the distance. My brother said that's probably not going to happen. And I said, well, make it happen. After all, I'm knocking money off their monthly rent, and it's the least they can do. I called him this morning and asked him why he hadn't gotten back to me. And he said, my wife isn't comfortable with your daughter using her vehicle after just crashing her own, and gave some excuse of, the car's the only thing she really has, so it's a big ask. I guess his wife has been selling off her stuff to make the bills since she's out of work. I told him he needed to figure it out, or the payments would go back up, because I need to help my daughter get a vehicle. He says I'm an idiot because I'm taking my daughter's negligence out on them. Wow, I mean, I wouldn't let someone who was just in a wreck use my car. It's amazing you do. Make it happen? Ouch! You are the idiot. Are you using a payment discount on the land your brother's buying from you as leverage to get your way? By the way, it's not rent. It's part of a purchasing plan. Your daughter just crashed her car. It is quite reasonable for anyone to not be comfortable loaning her their car, especially if they're in a tight financial position. Having a car could be the difference between your sister-in-law being able to return to work after the baby's born versus being stuck at home. Do you have the money to replace your sister-in-law's car if you force her to let your daughter drive it and she crashes again? How would you make it right if you're the one who forces the issue? For a compromise, why don't you give your daughter your car and then you can drive sister-in-law's? That way, you assume the risk of your daughter driving, which you don't seem to think are excessive, and your sister-in-law's car is driven by you, a more experienced driver, addressing her concerns. I disagree. No compromise. Your daughter's an adult. She was at fault in an accident severe enough to bend the frame of her vehicle. She needs to take full responsibility for her actions and her negligence, and she needs to woman up and be an adult. Stop trying to fix this for her. She needs to figure this out herself. Shaking down your brother and sister-in-law is just flat out wrong on every level. Stop babying your 22-year-old daughter. You are not doing her any favors now or in the long term. I, 32 male, live in an apartment complex with a pool. There's no active lifeguard or anyone really monitoring it, like most apartment pools. On Saturday, my boyfriend and I went to hang out at the pool around 2 p.m. We get there, and it's like way too packed. I knew this couldn't all be residents. There were maybe 20 to 35 Hispanic people with beer, glass bottles of models as well, double rule break with the alcohol and glass, loud music, and they were also using both of the grills on the patio. After investigating further, it looked like one of the small families that I'd seen running around the complex was having a birthday party for their kid. Our complex technically has a rule that all non-residents must be checked in at the office to use the pool, but there's no way they enforce this, and nobody really pays attention to that rule. But a whole idiot birthday party? The entire pool was filled with kids. It doesn't specifically say no parties, but it says to respect other space and not hog items like the grills, hot tub, and umbrella tables. My boyfriend and I tried to lay out in the corner, but it wasn't working. After another couple told us how displeased they were with this party too, my boyfriend suggested we say something. We left, stopped by the front office, and told them about the party. About an hour later, we started seeing all of them leaving the pool. It looked like the party was shut down. This morning, we got a note on our door from the host of the party. I don't know how they knew it was us or what unit we lived in, but that's beside the point. The note called us idiots for what we did, and now saying that they're under a lease review where the office could decide to evict them. So they thanked us for potentially getting a poor, small family kicked out. I said we weren't the only ones who had a problem, and if we didn't do it, they would have eventually gotten caught. I also told them that whatever happens is their fault for blatantly breaking the rules. Am I the idiot? This is one of those gray areas. Legally, you're all right. Morally, you had so many options. You could have talked to them. You didn't. Instead, you put in an official complaint. Housing is a nightmare. You've given them more to worry about. And why did you specify Hispanics? What does it have to do with this issue? I don't see what the ethnicity of the party had to do with this situation at all. You are the idiot. Mexican here. I do not see the post as racist at all. It's as if in my neighborhood, there's a giant party of 30 Americans here in Mexico. It's something I'd probably just mention. No need to be racist to just mention. Wow, the place was packed with like 30 Americans. How the heck is that insulting? Housing is a nightmare right now. You've given them more to worry about. I wouldn't do anything to rock the boat and draw negative attention to myself from my landlord if I supposedly cared about my housing. If you're a bad tenant, this is how you get on a landlord you-know-what list and make your tenancy difficult and expose yourself to consequences. Why jeopardize your living arrangement? So, throwing a pool party for a kid is risking losing your house? Wow, it would have just been one afternoon. I feel not only bad for the guests and the parents, but also for the kids. A few years ago, my neighbor's kid was having a loud idiot party with fireworks which were not legal, etc. I went over instead of calling the police. She was celebrating her 18th. Let her know that since she's now a legal adult, fireworks are very illegal and she would be held liable, but to proceed, to have fun. Are the neighbors inconsiderate? Yes. Is it inconsiderate to ruin a child's birthday? Yes. For one day by the pool. Just one day. People suck. By people, I mean UOP. Just one day? Get a permit or talk to management if you want to throw a party that's going to take up nigh the entire pool area. OP has a right to enjoy the community pool too. A notice that says the pool would be closed from 1 to 4 on Saturday for a private party would have been no skin off anyone's back. Not the idiot. They broke the rules and inconvenienced other residents wishing to use the facilities they paid for. It's their problem. My brother got married a few months ago. His wife has a teenage daughter, Everly, whose birthday was last weekend. His wife doesn't have a family, and Everly's dad is not in her life. She's a loner and doesn't have many friends. So for her birthday, my brother asked us to celebrate it with her because otherwise no one would go. The issue is, I have a younger teen niece, Sophie, whose birthday is 5 days after Everly, and she decided to throw a party on the same day as Everly because she wanted her birthday to be on the weekend. I asked my brother if Everly could have her birthday another day, and he said she wanted the party to be on the actual birthday. We ended up all going to Sophie's party, and apparently we're all idiots because no one, not even her few friends, showed up to her party. So, am I the idiot for not going to my brother's stepdaughter's birthday? I won't miss my niece's birthday party just to pretend I care about a random girl. You are the idiot. Everly organized her party first. You all agreed to go. Your other niece decided to plan her party for the same day. Did she know about Everly's party? Sophie should have been the one to reschedule. Have it the weekend before her birthday or the weekend after. Whichever one wasn't when Everly's party was. Poor Everly. No one in the family is welcoming her. She's already had a hard life. Her dad isn't in her life, and it doesn't sound like she has a lot of family on her side. You could have celebrated her. You could have shown her love. I'm not going to miss my niece's birthday party just to pretend I care about a random girl. That's enough. Both of these young women are your nieces. They're both children, chosen or birth of your siblings. Everly's birthday party was planned first, on her actual birthday. Her party should have taken precedence. While I understand Sophie wanting to celebrate her birthday on the weekend, she should have either asked or combined her party with Everly's as a bigger family event, or hosted it 2 days after her birthday instead of 5 days before it, to be on the weekend and not conflict with her cousin. The fact that the adults involved allowed the conflicting parties to be scheduled means that you're not the only idiot, but UOP are one of the main idiots here. I feel sorry for Everly. She deserves better. I, 34 female, was with Liam, 35 male, for over a decade, had 2 children with him, and we broke up when I learned he was cheating on me with Ella, 30 female. Ella was pregnant when I learned about their affair, and the 2 of them were very smug about the fact that they were going to start a family with my kids, who were young enough at the time to see Ella as a second mom in their lives potentially. Ella was downright nasty, saying she could provide for them so much better because her parents were wealthy and she'd be the number 1 mom in no time. We ended up getting shared custody of our children, and the schedule was a week on, a week off. X and I had to meet at a neutral location per our custody order to reduce conflict and any problems with exchanging our children. The judge also ruled that Ella could not be present for exchanges, giving her alienating language toward me that was not totally hidden from mine and Liam's children. My ex and Ella were shocked when her family didn't support them after realizing that she had helped him cheat and had gotten pregnant with someone who had a family. So they ended up struggling. At the same time, I was doing better than ever after making a career shift I had wanted to do for a while before. They, of course, realized over time. This was, I think, just after they had their daughter and around the time that they got married. Then the name I heard for their daughter was suddenly changed to my name. They started being super kiss butt with me and saying my kids deserved one family unit and how their daughter was named after me, was my kid's little sister, and she needed someone to help support her and give her the life her siblings have, etc. I told them they were bat crap crazy and I was not their daughter's anything. They had 2 more girls since then, and apparently they're telling those girls that I'm their aunt and or their other mom, hence the older of the 3 being named after me. The oldest is always trying to seek me out. My ex brings her during the exchanges with our kids, and she rushes out of the car with my kids. They've told me how uncomfortable it makes them because they aren't allowed to correct it. I told my ex he needed to say something. I said the same thing to Ella, but she didn't. A few days ago, their oldest sought me out again and asked if she could stay when my kids stay with me, and she's so glad I'm her aunt and her other mom. I told her I wasn't. I said it kindly, but I was also firm that I was not her aunt or her mom. She got upset and ran back to her parents, and then I got dumped on by Ella for breaking her daughter's heart. She said that she had only tried to be friendly and make the best of the family situation for the kids, and I was the idiot. I feel kind of bad because the little girl was devastated. At the same time, I don't have any interest in being part of those 3 girls' lives in any kind of way, except for when I see them for my kids. Am I the idiot? It seems Ella's parents have disowned her for the scandal. That's why she's struggling. And I guess that's no surprise. Karma slapped her and your ex in the face really hard. That's why they're trying to kiss your butt. Definitely not the idiot. OP, you may need to go back to court to stop this. Your ex has no right to bring this girl to the exchange, making your children uncomfortable. Ex and affair partner deserve each other. Poor kids, though. She's playing the long game of manipulation and hoping you'll just get worn out and go along with it. I feel sorry for the kid who's obviously been told a pack of lies. That must hurt a lot, but that's got nothing to do with you. Your ex should be stepping up here too. He started this crazy crap. It's his daughter. Whoa, just wow. Yeah, to be honest, OP, I think what you did was the kindest thing in the long run. That kid needed to know that she's not going to have a relationship with you. And to be quite honest, her parents have used her to force a relationship with you to get more money, or whatever they're after. I've never heard of someone changing the name of their child after it's born. That's just weird. These people are very strange, honestly. I mean this in the nicest way, when I say I'm glad you're no longer with your ex. He's obviously got issues alongside his new wife with the way that they're acting. The insanity of some people continues to astound me. So before people roll their eyes and cringe and scream, seeing the word Christmas already, please hear me out, LOL. I'm a nearly adult female. I still live with my parents and my 2 brothers, a teen and a young teen. My mom has 2 older kids, a half-brother 29 and a half-sister 27. Mom divorced their dad right after her pregnancy with the youngest was up. They had broken up before Mom even gave birth to their daughter. But things were never easy. She met my dad 2 years post-divorce and married him after 3 years together. They had us, and all should have been fine, if not good. But their dad was not having my dad or me and my brothers be important to his and my mom's kids, and he used all kinds of parental alienation he could. It was messy. Mom was awarded full custody after a while, but then he sued again, and they wanted to return once they were teenagers. During all this, Mom had them in therapy, family therapy. They were awful to be around. They didn't treat us well, and they did not treat Dad good. They would treat us like crap. They called us names and told us they wish we had never been born, or that their dad would come and make us pay for being born. Crap like that was so common, and then they were gone. They were mostly with their dad. Then we started seeing them more a few years ago, but they still didn't like us. Neither did their spouses. My half-sister has 2 kids, and we're not allowed to interact with her kids. She tells her kids my brothers and I are mistakes that Grandma made, and that my dad is ignored by them entirely. Every Christmas they spend time with us, and it's awful. My brothers and I hate it. My dad hates it, but we have to deal with it for Mom. Dad does so willingly. The rest of us, not so much. Last Christmas was the worst one yet. Mom's son is expecting a baby with his wife, and all the while they were celebrating, we were ignored. And then I heard her kids talk about us being so annoying and in their faces simply for being present. Half-sister's husband made one joke to me the whole time, saying they just have to make their Christmas wish that none of us would be there and their family could be together next year. That was all he said to me the whole time. I'm just so done. Mom will never let them go. Dad will never want to see her sad. I don't want to deal with it. So I told them I was done with family Christmas after they started talking about it a few weeks ago, that I will not be with them celebrating. I might be just underage, but they cannot expect me to spend the rest of my holidays being treated like I was a mistake and shouldn't be here because I was born, which is not something I can control. Mom was so upset. Then she told me I had no say. So I told them I would stay in my room, but I was not going to hang out with people who despise me and literally wish us all dead, because we all know it's what they do. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot at all. And it's disgusting that your mother lets her other children behave that way. Your mom should have been protecting you. Really, she should have nipped this in the bud years ago. But if she was aware of their actions and did nothing to stop it, that's as good as implicit permission for cruel kids. Now they're adults and still acting like spiteful, nasty kids. If you have the means and ways to protect yourself from that, especially since they seem incapable, then go for it. Your mom may never let them go, and your dad may not want to see her upset, but they seem to have missed the point that they have lost you and made you upset, and you're still children who deserve protection from their parents. Leave. Stand up for yourself. Hide. Refuse to interact. Whatever it takes. But yes, make it clear you are no longer part of this sanctioned abuse. Whatever it takes to make your parents realize they've subjected you to torment for long enough and are nearly out of time to fix it. Edit. That's not a tense Christmas. That's an abusive environment, and you do have a choice. I wonder what Mom would say when you go no contact because of the treatment of her older children. My husband asked if I wanted to go to Saint-Tropez with the kids because his family was going. I said no because I'm 6 months pregnant and I had complications early on, and I'm worried the same will happen again, which would be even more terrifying while stuck on a boat away from home. He tried to convince me nothing would happen and I was being overcautious, but I wouldn't change my mind, so he seemed to give up. He went to Saint-Tropez with the kids without telling me they were going and called me once they arrived to persuade me I had to come since the kids were already there. I was so angry at him and worried about the kids that my first instinct was to go immediately, but as I was packing, I changed my mind. I told him I wasn't coming and that he was horrible for taking the kids behind my back, but I hoped it was worth it for him. He continued to try to persuade me for a few days, and he got upset that I wouldn't come even after my youngest bawled his eyes out because he missed me. He ended up coming home yesterday without the kids because my sister made it seem like I was unwell because of what he did. We had an argument because I still had a lot of pent-up anger from when he originally took the kids. He's upset at me for not joining them and thinks I'm using the pregnancy as an excuse, since he said I would have just as good medical care in Saint-Tropez as at home if I needed it. He kept bringing up how our youngest had cried for me and I had ignored him. Am I the idiot? He did what? Is he normally that controlling? Who thinks my pregnant wife, who has health concerns, won't do what I want? So I'll take the kids without telling her and manipulate her into doing what I want. You picked a doozy for a spouse, OP. I'd be rethinking my life choices if I were you. Not the idiot. He tried to use children as a bargaining chip They aren't his tools to make you do what he wants you to do. But are the kids still there without either of you? Your youngest was already crying without you. I can't imagine how frightened they are without their dad as well. Poor kids. Your husband put them through quite an ordeal, possibly even something traumatic, just because he wanted to force you to come on a vacation. Oh my God, he left the kids with your in-laws? He did something childish because he didn't get his way and wants to blame you because it made the kiddo cry? Geez, a real winner he is. This is a therapy and divorce type situation. What he did was abusive. Call a lawyer today and get their advice about the whole situation. And if I were you, I would either be sending someone to retrieve my children or having the in-laws return them immediately. No matter how safe or how much fun they're having, you didn't give permission for them to travel out of the country or to travel alone with your in-laws. The children are also traveling without anyone permitted to make medical decisions in case of an infection or a broken limb or worse. You should also tell your doctor what has happened and is still happening. The effects of this on your body are something they need to monitor. Don't downplay this, with them or with yourself. Lawyer today, emergency therapy today or tomorrow. I'm 61, female, and I have 2 children, 41 male and 39 female. My children are going through a little spat over money my son loaned my daughter over 10 years ago. It's really tearing my family apart, and I just want to see what people have to say. My son gave my daughter $20,000 to start a business 10 years ago, and I was happy when he did it because it was unexpected and nice. Now here's where the problem occurs. She never started the business, and now every Thanksgiving, my son asks my daughter if she's going to pay him back, and it's getting annoying because people want to eat. My daughter complains about it, saying she'll pay him back and then drops it. My daughter's fiance says she's tired of the harassment over the money. My daughter had a bachelorette party, and everything was going swell. We ordered male dancers, ate cheesecake, and just had fun. The next day we woke up because we heard knocking, and it was a guy saying, "You've been served," because my son is suing my daughter over the money. I called my son and called him a disappointment. My son said, "Look here, it's been 10 years. If she's not trying to pay back, then I'm taking her skinny butt to court." I'm torn. Am I the idiot? Just to be clear, he gave her $20,000 10 years ago to start a business, which she never did. And you're unhappy because he brings it up every Thanksgiving, which has been 10 Thanksgivings, right? And instead of telling your daughter to start repaying that money, you get upset because people want to eat? And now she won't pay him back, but she will pay for a bachelorette party with multiple dancers and cheesecake. I'm extremely confused as to how you consider him a disappointment for taking action in this matter. You are the idiot. We all know why your daughter's not paying him back. You join her in complaining about your son's behavior. You want him to drop it and find this an inconvenience. It doesn't bother you that your daughter's a thief. And now that he's doing the right thing and getting the money, you double down in your complaints about him. Then you tell him that he's a disappointment? You are a disappointment as a mom. Wow, your judgment and opinions are really skewed and off. I feel sorry for your son. He was kind and nice, and both his sister and his mom treated him badly. Wow. Your daughter's your golden child, and you're okay with her lying to your son about the intentions of the money she borrowed from your son. That's not okay. Your son is well within his rights to get his money back, and if I were him, I'd include interest. It's been 10 years. I am estranged from my sister. She and I used to have the same friend circle growing up, and she was good friends with my then best friend. But when I was 16, my then best friend was with a guy who ended up with a crush on me. I had no idea. Suddenly she turned into a bully, and she bullied me horrifically, to the point I was moved after only 2 months into a school year because she had leaked personal stuff about me to the whole school. This was stuff she knew because she was meant to be my best friend, and she blasted it everywhere. My sister stayed friends with this girl despite all that. Not only that, but when I told her it upset me, she told me I was being a controlling brat for thinking I could ask her to dump her friend. That was when I decided I had lost 2 people. First, my parents tried to keep my sister away from my former best friend. but she insisted that she be allowed to have whatever friends she wanted. That friendship lasted several more years before they stopped being friends, but it was too much by then. She even brought this girl to stuff she knew I would be at, under the guise of being allowed to bring friends. It was traumatic for me, and over that time I grew to hate my sister for subjecting me to that. She attempted to apologize a couple of years ago, but I didn't want to hear it. Now I'm engaged, and I warned my parents that my sister wasn't getting an invite. My brothers told me our parents seemed to mention my sister in speeches they were preparing, and they wanted to give me a heads up, since they didn't seem to want to listen to them. When I brought it to my parents, they said they couldn't pretend she didn't exist, since most people know I have a sister. I told her that those people also know that we no longer talk. I told them I didn't want them to mention her at my wedding. They told me I was being unfair, especially when she attempted to apologize, but I stopped her. We're now not on the best of terms. They think I'm unfair. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If your parents can't celebrate your day without bringing up your estranged sister, maybe they shouldn't go either. Your wedding is not about her, them, or whatever fantasies they have of forcing a reconciliation. Parents don't necessarily have to give a speech. It is typically just the best man and maid of honor who give a toast. None of the weddings I attended had either sets of parents of the bride and groom give a speech or a toast, but I'm no expert on these things. I don't know why a speech or toast at your wedding would even mention your sister anyways. It should be about love, your relationship, and congratulations on your newest milestone together, etc. If I were you, just do not let your parents be allowed to give a speech to prevent any potential drama. Agree. Revoke their privilege to give a speech. It's your wedding, not a Dr. Phil episode. My ex was a notorious attention seeker. At my daughter's wedding, the DJ was told to keep the microphone away from my ex, and he did. The ex was quite disappointed. Hope your wedding goes well.